Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. Is it time to do our seasonal announcement about visitors?
Oh, yes, it is.
So now that we're into June, in the summer, I usually do a little, what do we call it? Little PSA kind of a thing, public service announcement, that this is a show that is meant to inform our residents of what's going on in town government. And let our visitors know that we have a very robust town government and active community involved in government. And so
welcome visitors.
Welcome visitors and
or even
welcome
those homeowners
residents.
that are
second
only
homeowners, seasonal homeowners, yes, welcome. All right, so at the board meeting this week on June 5th, we are on our summer schedule, by the way, right now, and the board meets 2 times a month, June, July, August.
Oh,
there's a bit of a break right after June 19th. So our next meeting, Wednesday night meeting, is June 19th. Today is June 7th. And don't meet next Wednesday the 12th, meet the 19th. We don't meet the 26th. We don't meet the 3rd of July, and then we meet the 10th.
So we'll have a 3-week break.
There's a bit of a 2-week break, yes. So,
that's fine.
at the meeting this week, I'm just going to give you the overview. I've been announcing that we were going to have an open house for the new fire station on June 15th. That is off. Scratch that off your calendar for now. There are some delays, surprise, surprise, with the project. Unanticipated. So we are putting the open house off. More to follow soon. Don't have a new date yet.
Did anything have to do with the air conditioning
Something to do with the HVAC, and I forget what else, but there's a whole list of stuff.
And they want it completely done before they show it off.
They really do. And for a variety of reasons, it's better to have it completely done. So, more later on that. Road work is still going on hopefully before the end of the month. It will get all wrapped up. We had some reports from Public Safety and some other departments about the Wine Festival and Memorial Day weekend, just in terms of, was there any, disruption, unusual disruption or anything like that? Because both of those events are arguably somewhat disruptive to the community. And it seems as though the biggest problem was overcrowding in a couple of establishments. So there was a meeting yesterday to remind everybody what the overcrowding rules are, and you got to pay attention to it for public safety reasons. And it seemed as though those things will be addressed. That's an annual reminder. There was also some permitting issues, I guess, with the Wine Festival in particular, and timing of permits being requested. And
you mean like vendors showing up and not getting a permit when they serve?
Or vendors showing up like right when they want to start serving and saying, oh, by the way, I need a permit right now. And that's not really how it works.
Right.
All right, we had some public hearings. We had an HDC appeal on the agenda, but that thankfully was put off, even though it's putting off the painful to another time. That is going to
What is that one about, Libby?
It's about a house and a pool in Tom Nevers, Chuck Hollow Road.
How dare
put off to
put
July
a pool
10th. Pools are...
Everybody wants a pool.
I don't want a pool. I do not want a pool.
You mean, can we
What a
hold you
hassle to maintain it. Yes, hold me to it.
Okay.
I'd much rather go to the beach, actually.
You're old school, though.
I will say, the sand is kind of bothersome. I wish at every beach there was a little place for me to wash my feet off and get into my car with dry feet.
Well, almost every. Well, I mean, the major beaches all have that.
Nah. I mean, I'm talking like, like if I had a portable, I suppose I could bring, I'm thinking through now, I could bring a jug of water.
Yeah, good.
I guess I could do that. I just don't like to be sandy.
I see, yeah. Sand,
Okay. Public hearings. We had public hearing number 2 for our committee applications. So we've had 2 public hearings so far. This was the second, so that people can come and talk to the board about their applications. And then this all leads up to the appointments, which are scheduled for June 19th. Annual committee appointments. Okay, we had the long-awaited stop sign public hearing. The stop signs that were installed on Surfside Road at Bartlett. That was a temporary installation, so we had scheduled a public hearing early on when the board authorized this to go in April. They said we're going to have a public hearing on June 5th to see how it's going. What do people think? So you were there, Gino.
Yeah.
The room was not packed with people either way. I jotted down, I was keeping track of how many people said they supported and how many people opposed. I think I tracked about 5 supporters and 3 opposers.
Yep.
And so a lot of discussion about it. Long story short, the stop signs will remain in, and we will have another review. I don't know if we're going to have a public hearing or not, but maybe. I don't know yet. Another review in September. See how it goes. You've been
Good
through,
idea.
You've been through there?
I like it.
What do you think? You
I
do?
like it, and actually I like it because Bartlett Road people, where
Can-
the
can get out
majority
easier?
of that have been relieved.
Yeah.
I mean, it has created a pretty easy way to get around. You have
Yeah.
options now.
You have
Instead of
options,
going the other way,
yes. Yeah.
you know, to Somerset way,
Yeah.
you can actually get into town the other way.
Yes. It'll be
So-
interesting to see how it goes for the summer. All right, I'm skipping around a bit because I don't need to go through every single agenda item. We were there till 9:15. The harbor master was in. She was reviewing beach safety and summer prep. What do we do to prepare
Interesting.
for the beaches to open up? And then we had a discussion about sharks.
Well, she brought it up.
Yeah.
The lifeguard, I was surprised that the lifeguards up until this year were never trained to stop the bleeding.
Well, that's a specific program, Stop the Bleed, but they certainly are trained in first aid. So,
Yes,
you
of
know,
course,
they would,
but the stop the bleed one is what I'm referring to.
Yep.
Because of what's happened on the Cape, and that we should be, okay.
So if you subscribe to the Town Manager e-newsletter, which I'm sure you do, and if you don't, you can easily go to the town website, www.nantucket-ma.gov, and you can get to town administration, you can sign up for it. I've got a section in there this month about beaches, and there's a section within there about sharks and shark protocol and things like that, and what it, you know, we're just trying to let people know some public outreach. The lifeguards have radios, which are not dependent upon cell service, so they can easily get in contact with the emergency services department, fire department, if need be. If there's, you know, an incident of any kind, they can have emergency first aid training, and they are trained to spot sharks, and then there's a protocol for letting people know to get out of the water. What they can't do is prevent a shark attack or predict when sharks are going to be in the area. So we shouldn't fool ourselves to think that it's completely safe to swim 100% of the time. That
Okay.
being said,
Yeah.
I think we all know that sharks aren't really new.
Exactly.
In some of the areas nearby, there perhaps are more of them because of other factors, seals being one, but they're not. It's not like they've never been around before.
No, exactly. And I don't know that the numbers have really just blown up in the area.
I
think
that's true. And now
because
I mean, it's just because it's being tracked now. It
Yes,
just wasn't tracked
exactly.
before, like any other thing
And,
like that.
and that goes to the guy who came up after her.
Yeah, so Sheila Lucy Harbor Master talked about the sharks, and the lifeguards are trained to spot them and all that sort of thing. We're also hoping that there will be an emerging effort among Cape and Islands communities to have similar messaging, similar signage, perhaps sharing of equipment and information, that kind of thing, so that it's consistent and not every town does its own thing, even though that's sort of where the default tends to be. Every town does its own thing. But we're really trying to get information out there and just let people know what we know.
Right.
After Sheila spoke, a representative from OSearch spoke, and then he gave a nice presentation about what their work is all about. It's about tagging, and it's about, you know, they have a research vessel, and they actually get sharks onto the research vessel and do the research on them and give them antibiotics and those all kinds of things.
They look at the blood, they take samples of,
Yeah,
you know.
tag them.
Right, find out what's inside them,
Yeah.
or inside their blood anyway.
Yes, inside their blood. They don't cut them
They
open.
don't cut them
or
open,
anything
no,
like
they're alive, they put them back.
that. Yeah. So that was very interesting, actually, I thought. And the guy said...
So what, I was a little confused in why he was presenting this information to you, to the board.
Well, one of the board members asked if they could be on the agenda.
Okay,
So that's how they got
Okay.
onto the agenda. They,
All
I
right.
guess, had asked, could we give a public presentation
and that's it, they're not looking for money from the town?
I hope not. A specific request wasn't made for that.
Okay.
I mean,
Because that's, I mean, I wasn't sure.
Well, Yes, you and I looked at each other at one point because we weren't sure about
Well,
that.
I'm sure.
But
Education is great, but, you know, you don't want to frighten people either. To
Yes.
the point where
Right.
nobody wants to go in the ocean anymore.
Well, there's a fine line, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
So that was that. And if you want to watch the program, it's online at our meeting. You can watch our meeting online. Our licensing administrator, Amy Baxter, gave a preliminary overview of some potential liquor license regulation amendments that the board has asked it be prepared for it to consider. So we talked about where we are with that. And where we are with that is that Amy is now going to go and talk to some of the stakeholders that have liquor licenses and get their feedback and discuss with them what sorts of things we are looking at, which include different fees, a different fee structure for annual licenses versus seasonal. In my time here, we've gone kind of around and around about this, and we're talking about it again. So something will probably be presented to the board in the fall for their consideration at a public hearing. Public Works Director gave an update about downtown sidewalk improvements specific to the historic preservation review process. So the idea is to have a process under which, depending on where a sidewalk is, pretty much in the downtown and sort of surrounding area, that it get identified as, there would be a number of criteria and factors. Is this a historic sidewalk? Yes. What is its sort of historic history? How would it best be historically repaired, renovated, replaced, that kind of thing. All right, 2020 annual town meeting. A date has been set, Saturday, April 4th, 2020. Mark your calendar, that's when it's going to be. And a timeline is out, it's online, it's preliminary because it's very early on, but be prepared for that. Okay. And we are going to try electronic voting at this town meeting. Whatever the next town meeting is. We don't think we're going to have a special in the fall. If we do, we're going to try for electronic voting probably at that. Otherwise, we are doing it at the annual. Trying it out.
So
demo.
Tell people how that
Well,
works.
basically, you would get. I mean, I'm really simplifying it here. You would get a handheld device, and you would vote yes or no on the articles that are called.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a hand count. It wouldn't be a voice vote. It would be a yes, no, tallied up very quickly.
Why did you choose that? Or why
well,
is that?
it sort of seems to be something that's a bit of a trend in towns right now for a couple of reasons. We've
I
heard.
can see a couple of, but I want to hear.
Well,
what
we've
you
heard
say.
both. We've heard a couple of different sides of this. There's a bit of a feeling that people, depending on how contentious an article might be, they don't really want their employer or their neighbor or whoever to see how they vote because it can be awkward. There's also an accuracy of voting situation. Right now, I mean, there's human error. The hand counts right now are manually counted by humans, and they make errors from time to time. I mean, we don't really know if they have or not, but there's certainly room for that, and the electronic voting really pretty much reduces that to
I think that's a good
error.
idea.
Yeah, so we're going to try it out.
I think more people will come to town meeting because of that.
That's what we're hoping. There are some towns on the Cape that are using it. They love it. We've talked to several towns who have instituted it, and they've implemented it, and it is part of their town meeting now, and they really like it. Okay. And they say that there's a bit of a ramp up, and there's a bit of training that will happen with everybody at town meeting by the electronic voting vendor. He will tell us all how to do it. We'll have a couple of trial votes, demo votes. He'll make up a question and we'll vote on it and go from there.
Good.
And I've heard a couple of things from people. Will the town know how I voted? No. The electronic voting group brings in their own servers. We have zero access to them. No offense to anybody in IT. We love our IT department and they're fabulous, but I'm not sure they have the expertise to hack. So we can't.
Yeah.
We're not interested in that anyway. So we'll not be able to tell how you're voting. And what was the other thing somebody asked about? I forget, but it does not seem to be an issue.
Right.
I think most people will be pleased with it.
Yep.
All right, let's see. I'm going to skip over some of the stuff that we did at the end. Okay, so that was mostly what we did at our meeting So as I said, we don't have a meeting next week on Wednesday night. We do have 2 board meetings, kind of retreat-like meetings next week. One is what we're hoping will become an annual meeting with the facilitator whereby the board members talk about governance and sort of best management practices and basically how they interact with each other at meetings. How do they get things done? How are meetings best facilitated? How does everybody get a chance to say what they want to say in a civil way, and I think we have a very good board right now that's very civil with each other, and that's not really an issue. But how do we stay on track, and make our agendas efficient, that sort of thing. So
is that open?
It's open to the public. I think
What day is that?
public might find it boring, but it's on Tuesday from 11 to 1 in the training room at the Fort Fairgrounds building. Tuesday, June 11th.
Okay.
On Wednesday, June 12th, the board has a retreat for strategic planning. It will be reviewing its current plan, getting an update from town admin as to where we are with the goals, and then it will decide if it wants to amend goals, modify goals, I guess that's the same thing, take away goals, or add.
Okay.
That is on Wednesday, the 12th, from 11 to 3 at Bartlett Hayloft. We're going out, so we're not distracted. So that's next week. The following week, the 19th, the agenda is not set yet, but we probably will be reviewing 4th of July scheduling because, the fireworks will not be on the 4th. They will be on the 5th. Is that right? You don't even know.
I think you're right.
Okay, I'm pretty
But I
pretty
won't
sure.
hold you to it.
No, don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty sure it's the 5th.
But they're not on the 4th, so just keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind. They're not on the 4th. They're not on the 4th because we had some severe party situations that we are trying to stamp out. And we are still working on institutionalizing the stamp out.
I hope that doesn't have anything to do with my party.
Oh, no, your
Trials.
party is totally fine, Gina.
Okay, good.
You can have your rager
All right.
without fear. Let's see, what else? We got a bunch of real estate. We got a bunch of telephone petitions. Sewer regs. We are in the process of revising our sewer regulations and sort of overhauling them. Over the years, they've been added to and sort of willy-nilly and we're overhauling them. So we're probably going to, I think at this point, we're getting an overview from our sewer engineers about that. No C changes, just making sure that, one time we amended the regulations and we put this section here when it should have been over here. If you read through the whole thing, it's dozens of pages, 100 pages maybe. So it's kind of an update. Let's see. The Senior Center Work Group is supposed to be coming in with their report. They've been looking at different locations for a new senior center, and they are hopefully coming in to review their report. And then the committee appointments that I mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
So
Pretty good.
that is what's going on. Let me take a look at my book here to see if there's anything else. There's so much happening. I cannot even tell you.
Well, it's so fast. Summer hits.
I do have a little, this is internal right now, but it's a bit of an internal work group that's working on the plastics ban bylaw. At the October 2018 special town meeting, the town adopted a plastics ban, and it's been approved by the Attorney General. It goes into effect in 2020. So I've got this little work group that is working on a public outreach program for this, because there are a lot of things banned under this bylaw that are going to take a ramp-up time to not have anymore.
Good.
K-cups, for example.
Whatever.
You will not,
do it.
under this bylaw, right now,
It's the beginning.
Stop and Shop will not be able to sell individual plastic K-cups. That's just one of the items that's banned.
Fine.
But I haven't been using a plastic K-cup for quite a while. I use a
I don't like
recyclable one
'em.
now.
Don't
You
like them.
don't like what? The plastic ones?
K-cups. No.
Oh, K-cup. Well,
Even though they're convenient.
real coffee people don't like them, I don't think. You're probably a real coffee
of
person.
course.
I'm not really a real coffee person. I mean, I should be. But I've been using a recyclable one.
Good for you, Libby. You're setting
not-
the
it's
right
not that
example.
hard.
People look up to you for that reason.
I should do a Instagram story
the
about
clean
it.
team. Now I'm rubbing your nose, but clean team. The plastic thing.
Well, that's my job. But
Come on.
Clean Team, yes. Clean Team is fun. Clean Team, this
well-
probably won't air, but Clean Team is at Hummock Pond in Bartlett Farm Road tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, but
But then you got next week in the,
Yeah, next, I honestly can't remember
that's
where
all
it
right,
is
don't worry about
the
it.
week after
They can
that.
find out.
Yeah, they can find out. What else? What are you hearing? It's going to be a great weekend, right, weather-wise?
Is it good?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I hope so.
I'm waiting for
We've
it
had
to get
enough
hot.
rain,
That's why I
haven't
haven't shaved.
It hasn't gotten hot.
No, I'm not gonna shave until until it gets hot.
Oh, really?
That's
You
my thing.
like that's like your sort of like hockey equivalent?
Yeah.
Bruins lost.
Yeah, I know.
Let's not talk about that.
We won't.
They're going to win.
They will. Of course they will.
Okay, I guess that's it. Thank you very much. See you next time.